A former Ohio pitcher talks about his journey to getting drafted into the MLB. Newswatch starts right now. Good evening and welcome to Newswatch, your source for news impacting southeastern Ohio. I'm Nick Veland. Two campers whose bodies were found in the woods in Morgan County in a suspected double homicide have been identified. The victims are 36-year-old Stephen Sturgill Jr. and 39-year-old Crystal Dawn Burchett, both residents of Sturgillville. Preliminary autopsies conducted by the Licking County Coroner's Office found that the couple suffered gunshot wounds. The bodies of the two victims were found early yesterday morning in the wooded area surrounding the Ukine camp in the Appalachian Hills Wildlife Area. 43-year-old Brian Wiemert, whose last known address is in Shelby County in western Ohio, was arrested yesterday morning in connection with their deaths. He was charged today in Morgan County Court of 2 counts of aggravated murder. His bond was set at $1 million and a preliminary hearing was scheduled for August 2nd. However, a grand jury could issue an indictment before then that would send the case to the Morgan County Court of Common Pleas. And the city of Columbus is facing a record number of homicides. The new chief in Ohio's capital and largest city faces this challenge on top of the longtime distrust of the force by residents. Elaine Bryant is a former deputy police chief in Detroit and was selected to lead the department in June by Democratic Mayor Andrew Ginther. She is the first black woman to lead the agency. Bryant says she wants Columbus residents to have interactions with officers that don't always involve a police response to an issue. She promises to call off officers for wrongdoing, but also to have their back in the face of criticism if their actions are justified. Some Democratic state lawmakers say the Ohio National Guard has helped keep Ohioans safe during the pandemic. So they've drafted a bill in response to give members $1,000 each as a thank you for their service. State Representative Bridewell Sweeney says the Guard stepped up to address key needs. She noted they helped with inmates in the state's prisons during outbreaks of the virus, helped vaccinate Ohioans in nursing homes, and more.
If the National Guard was not helping in the food bank run.
Sweeney says other first responders will be eligible for similar funds in new federal legislation, but notes Guard members are excluded, and she doesn't feel it is fair for them to be left out. Now over to Curtis for weather.
Hi there, I'm Curtis Fader, and taking a look outside, it is a beautiful dusky day out there, and well, I guess we can't see outside, but from what I can tell you, it was a very dusky day, and it's also coming, oh there it is, from a bit of muggy day out there, upper 80s. And also right now in Athens, 87 degrees, feels like 90 with mild humidity, but those winds kind of make up for it. Overall, it's kind of warm, but not as hot as it was last week. And then also, for this week in Athens, we are going to be seeing some thunderstorms that will be imminent, but then sunny skies for the rest of the week. And with those sunny skies, we're expected to have those temperatures cool down. And taking a look at right now in southeast Ohio, upper 80s is what to expect. A little bit of heat in the south in Ironton and Ripley, but also a little bit cooler temperatures, 86 in New Lexington and 85 in Cambridge. Back over to you, Nick.
3 Athens lifeguards quit the city pool after weeks of complaints over working conditions. Lexi Lepoff reports on what led to their breaking point.
The Athens City Pool has faced a lifeguard shortage, resulting in current staff working well over 40 hours a week. Lifeguards repeatedly complained about exhaustion from the long hours with few breaks. In a July 15th memo to the director of Athens Arts, Parks, and Recreation Department, lifeguards anonymously voiced their concerns.
We realized that our lifeguards were putting in a lot of hours. With that said, they were working 40, 50 hours, some were working 60 hours.
There are no legal restrictions on how many hours lifeguards can work, but long shifts raise concerns about their ability to stay alert. One of the lifeguards who quit last week, Somnia Kesey, says the head lifeguards contacted city management about these concerns but received no response.
Our higher management, kept on sending emails saying, hey, our guards are extremely fatigued. This is becoming not safe because we're in charge of watching for hours upon hours.
The short staffing also made it difficult for the lifeguards to take breaks. Kesey says all of the lifeguards were skipping full meals on long days, and it affected her physical health.
I lost a lot of weight for simply just because I was skipping out on full meals like lunch and dinner, and it was just kind of difficult to fit that into the type of schedule that we were having on day to day.
Because city management was not addressing their concerns, the lifeguards decided to come up with their own solution and proposed removing some open swim times to eliminate hours from the schedule. The proposal was denied.
I think that was a breaking point for a lot of other people too. That solution that we had laid out, it wasn't us just kind of mindlessly complaining. It was just kind of like a slap in the face just to see, higher management just kind of ignore that and say no.
Kesey quit the following week, and several others either quit or gave notice last week. This forced the pool to dramatically scale back its hours and offer refunds to season membership holders. WOUB reached out to Moore multiple times for a second interview to address the specific concerns raised by the lifeguards in the memo, but did not receive a response. Kesey says quitting was not an easy decision. She worked for the city pool 2 summers ago in one of the best summer experiences she has had.
It just felt like I was kind of letting down, the people who love to come to the pool so much and my coworkers, but I knew that I couldn't sacrifice any more of my mental health or day-to-day well-being.
For Newswatch, I'm Lexi Lepoff.
A group advocates to make marijuana legal in Ohio. And is a new COVID vaccine booster coming our way? Those stories and more when Newswatch returns.
Here in the ocean depths,
what is it?
Creatures flash, sparkle, and some simply glow.
That's crazy. Brilliant.
Magic.
Why do they shine?
That's the mystery. Why are they doing it?
Can scientists harness their radiance to fight cancer and peer inside the human brain?
That's our mission.
What can we learn from these creatures of light on Nova?
On Icon.
It's visual, it's audio, it's art.
With Abbey Road, Sgt. Pepper, Definitely Maybe, Morning Glory, you've got these visual connections.
That 12-inch square was a lovely art piece.
I see music as much as I hear it.
Blue Note celebrated African-American culture.
Kind of did like that.
And I was like, oh no, come on, that's it.
It's more than just a photograph, it's a work of art.
Icon, Music Through the Lens. Tune or stream Friday at 9/8 Central, only on PBS.
Next time on Antiques Roadshow, Vintage Portland. How have the values of these Oregon treasures held up since 1998?
It's the finest one I've ever seen.
Really?
It really is.
Oh my. I had no idea.
My brother had thrown this away and I took it out of the garbage can, and so I'm very glad I took it out.
Yeah, test your knowledge of which values went up, down, or stayed the same. Next time on Antiques Roadshow.
From the iconic big cats to the little-known small cats, nature's landmark 3-part series will bring these superstars into the light. Join us for 30 expeditions across 16 countries to meet over 30 different cats. This is the ultimate look at an amazing super family.
Former Ohio University President Charles Ping died in his Athens home yesterday at the age of 91. Ping served as the 18th president for the university from 1975 to 1994. During his tenure, he helped lead the university out of severe financial troubles. He taught at Ohio following his stint as president. The Recreation Center on campus, which opened in 1996, was named after him. A memorial program will be held on campus later this year. A program for neglected or abused children in Athens County has lost a substantial amount of funding. Court-appointed Special Advocates, or CASA, is a volunteer program that plays an important role in determining the best interests for children who are in the court system because of being abused or neglected. Funding for this program has been cut by 30% in back-to-back fiscal years. CASA's grant money went from $230,000 to an expected $77,000 this year. Athens County Juvenile Court Judge Zach Saunders says he finds the cuts disappointing.
It broke my heart. And no victim organization should suffer those cuts. I mean, that's detrimental, and when we really talk about it, it's detrimental to local communities because obviously that funding, when it trickles down, especially in southeastern Ohio, we're getting the bottom of the barrel.
The funding supports training programs for the volunteers, and the executive director of the Athens County CASA program, Jenny Stotts, says there are great benefits for the kids through these workers.
They actually tend to stay in substitute care for fewer months than when they don't have a CASA volunteer. They tend to have more of their educational needs being met. They tend to, they're more likely to pass all their grades at school. They are, here in Athens County, they're more likely to be permanently placed with their siblings when they have a CASA volunteer, and they tend to get more court-ordered services earlier on in the case when a CASA volunteer is there.
And for Stotts, every CASA volunteer has the ability to promote good through these kids.
I very truly believe in people and their capacity to change the world, and I think the world sounds like such a big thing, but for the work that our CASAs do, the world can be about one person.
Athens CASA is now looking to county commissioners for help along with fundraisers to get back some of the funding. A group is hoping to regulate marijuana like alcohol in Ohio has changed its legalization plan. It's now looking to pass a state law which can be changed without another statewide vote, rather than a constitutional amendment. The plan gives lawmakers 4 months from when the proposal by the Coalition to Regulate Marijuana Like Alcohol is submitted to pass it as it is, or the group can circulate more petitions to put it before voters. The proposal regulates growing, manufacture, testing, and sale of marijuana for adults over 21, with a 10% tax going to social equity, additional treatment, and more. Adults over 21 would be able to buy and use marijuana and could grow up to 6 plants per person. The last ballot on marijuana was a constitutional amendment, and it failed with voters in 2015. Less than 50% of Ohioans are fully vaccinated, and numbers from the Ohio Department of Health show a big difference between COVID cases in unvaccinated and vaccinated Ohioans. Governor Mike DeWine says these numbers are stunning. He says 99% of hospitalizations for COVID are because that person was not vaccinated. Dr. Bruce Vanderhoff says the new Delta variant is spreading throughout Ohio. He points out COVID is far more dangerous than any other side effect from the COVID vaccine. Governor Mike DeWine says this makes the case for getting COVID vaccines. But those who have already rolled up their sleeves may be back in line for a booster. Pfizer is coming out with some promising data. The company says it will apply for emergency use authorization for a third shot soon. Researchers say a booster shot 6 to 12 months after fully vaccination is likely to provide the highest level of protection, especially against the highly contagious Delta variant. Studies show antibody levels from people from 18 to 55 who got their third shot are 5 times higher, and those ages 65 to 85, antibody levels are 11 times higher. Also pending approval, Pfizer says it wants to study an updated version of the vaccine. The company's lead researcher says it would target the Delta variant, which currently represents 83% of the COVID-19 cases in the U.S. An effort to clean up a MacArthur watershed is underway. That story is still ahead.
And while we're experiencing some hot temperatures now, we might be seeing some cooler temperatures down the road. Find out more on my full weather forecast. But first, here's a look at stocks of local interest.
We really wondered whether or not we would get through rumors. In that tiny little room, there was 5 people that were totally breaking up.
We were all writing songs about each other.
I saw a lot of pain.
When the rain washes you clean. The only thing that kept us together was the music.
We are doing something that is worthwhile here.
All we wanted to do was make sure that every song on there was worth its weight in gold.
Classic Albums, Friday, July 30th at 10, 9 Central, only on PBS.
Tonight, starring Hank
Lachlan.
Hank was a part of that team that refined the old style and made it more beautiful.
He had such a pure voice. It was really like an angel voice, really.
Hank Laughlin's voice, for me, was unique. It was very high, very clear, very distinct.
Close the door to temptation. Don't let me walk through.
On Secrets of the Dead.
Welcome to the Dark Ages.
An era of violence and chaos.
There's plagues, there's civil war, the Saxons are just slaughtering everybody.
Did the mythical King Arthur rise from this moment to unite Britain?
Caliban, is that Excalibur?
Were the Dark Ages far different and far more prosperous than believed?
This is people living well.
This is people living very well.
Kingdom on Secrets of the Dead.
On Icon.
It's visual, it's audio, it's art. With Abbey Road, Sgt. Pepper, Definitely Maybe, Morning Glory, you've got these visual connections. That 12-inch square was a lovely art piece.
I see music as much as I hear it.
Blue Note celebrated African American culture.
Kind of did like that.
And I was like, oh no, come on, that's it.
It's more than just a photograph, it's a work of art.
Icon, music through the lens. Tune in or stream Friday at 9/8 Central, only on PBS.
Hi there, I'm Curtis, and taking a look outside, it's still very nice and dusky out there from a nice sunny day, but right now in Athens, it is currently 87, and with our Southeast Ohio region, 87 degrees, that's kind of the central median temperature. It's all right around the upper 80s with about a little bit of a low and 85 low temperature compared to the other cities, but then we also have 89 in Ironton and 89 in Ripley, so it's a little bit hotter down south. And also for tonight, 69 degrees, that's a nice temperature to see if you want to go outside and go out and do whatever you want. But humidity is still present, and with that 0 miles per hour wind, no wind at all, that is not going to make it that much better. It's going to make it a little bit worse, but ultimately not too bad. And tonight in southeastern Ohio, now we're going to see a more wide variety of temperatures, 69 in Athens, but also 74 in Columbus, 71 in New Lexington, and then we're going to see 75 all the way down in Ripley with 72. It's all over the place, but overall it's going to be in the upper 60s for most places. And taking a look at the hour by hour tonight, 68 degrees for 6 a.m. for tomorrow's commute, but we have that 97% humidity, so it is going to be a little bit muggy and not much of a difference at 8 a.m. with mostly cloudy and the sun coming out. And then 10 a.m. it's going to shoot up as the sun makes its presence felt, and we're going to be starting to see some winds coming out. And tomorrow in Athens, 86 degrees, and we're going to be seeing some thunderstorms in the afternoon, but also be careful because these severe storms could become severe, as I probably said earlier. And so now with those storms, it is going to be really dangerous out there potentially, especially with those 10 to 15 mile an hour winds. And well, there we go. Tomorrow, southeast Ohio, it is going to be all over the place. Once again, 91 in Ironton, 93 in Ripley. We can see that hot south area. And then we're going to see cooler areas, 83 in New Lexington, 81 up in Cambridge. And taking a look at our surface map, you're probably wondering why all these temperatures are going crazy. But right now, if you see those low front coming in with the high, so a warm front and a cold front colliding, that's what's called a stationary front. And what that means is that the hot air is coming in and the cold air is coming right back on it. It's going to collapse on it. And what that does is creates a lot of precipitation, a lot of storms. But also, if you take a look at our 7-day forecast, with the cold air pushing up against the warm air, that's going to create a lot of cooler temperatures. As you can see, 81 degrees on Friday and 80 and 81 for Saturday and Sunday respectively for your weekend. And then Monday, the sun icons, as far as the eye can see, but we're going to start creeping up into 83 and 84 at the end of the week. Back over to you, Nick.
Thanks, Curtis. Septic tank waste and restaurant grease spread into a section of Raccoon Creek in Vinton County after a local business put too much waste in a dumping site nearby. Taylor Burnett has more about how this impacts the MacArthur community.
A to Z Sanitation, which offers septic tank cleaning, portable toilet services, and grease trap cleaning, was issued a permit from the Ohio Environmental Protection Agency to dump a regulated amount of grease and sewage in a field near the creek. The business dumped an S gallons of sewage and grease into the field, which was too much. After a heavy rainfall, the waste seeped into Raccoon Creek. An anonymous resident sent a complaint to OEPA, reporting smells of sewage and water with other substances in it. Upon investigation on June 7th, OEPA said there was an extremely heavy bacteria growth along the sides of the stream, along with large collections of grease floating at the surface. Todd Zuspin, the owner of A to Z Sanitation, said the waste was dumped into the field on June 1st, but an OEPA official estimated the infiltration had been occurring for 3 to 4 weeks. Raccoon Creek has a history of pollution due to the acid mine drainage coming from both surface and land mining. In the early 90s, the 6 counties that encompass Raccoon Creek partnered with groups like the Ohio Department of Natural Resources and local landowners to form the Raccoon Creek Partnership to coordinate efforts to restore the creek and keep it safe for the animals living there.
So back when the coordination efforts started in the 80s and 90s, the EPA originally was like, this is never going to be cleaned up. It's impossible. But, of course, nobody listened, thankfully.
The group's efforts led to 40 miles of Raccoon Creek being designated as the best warm water habitat the EPA classifies. For now, A to Z Sanitation is required by OEPA to clean up the area. OEPA's final record of the incident on June 22nd indicates they complied. They use suction technology and trash pumps to remove the bacteria on the edges of the creek, as well as to remove some of the grease from the water. The company also deployed booms, a temporary barrier to collect materials in water spills. From June 7th to June 15th, OEPA and Zuspin estimated 25,000 gallons of grease had been collected from Raccoon Creek and ditches surrounding the field where A to Z was permitted to dump, some of which led to the waterway. In MacArthur, I'm Taylor Burnett for Newswatch.
As of June 22nd, the OEPA said A to Z Sanitation was no longer dumping at the site. World champion gymnast Simone Biles withdrew from the women's team gymnastics event yesterday, citing mental health concerns as she attempts to protect her mind and body. The 24-year-old withdrew after her disappointing vault, breaking down in tears, telling reporters that she cannot jeopardize her health and well-being. Jordan Childs took her place in the uneven bars. Team USA Gymnastics took home silver without Biles. The Russian Olympic Committee walked away with the gold. It remains unclear if she'll compete later in individual events. Team USA is planned to have a mental rest day today.
Hello again, everybody. Coming up in sports, Jason Preston is just over 24 hours away from potentially hearing his name called at the NBA draft. And right after the break, Joe Rock was already drafted earlier this month. Hear from him as he discusses his journey to making his dream a reality. That's coming up next on Newswatch. And be sure to stay tuned to WOUB. Here's a look at what's coming up tonight on your public television station.
From the iconic big cats to the little-known small cats, nature's landmark 3-part series will bring these superstars into the light. Join us for 30 expeditions across 16 countries to meet over 30 different cats. This is the ultimate look at an amazing super family.
Here in the ocean depths,
What is it?
creatures flash, sparkle, and some simply glow.
That's crazy. Brilliant.
Magic.
Why do they shine?
That's the mystery. Why are they doing it?
Can scientists harness their radiance to fight cancer and peer inside the human brain?
That's our mission.
What can we learn from these creatures of light on Nova?
Queer and trans youth of color transformed the Christopher Street Pier into their own sanctuary. In the face of homelessness and homophobia, 3 friends find joy and hope through bonds of chosen family. An intimate portrait of a raw side of New York City that many choose to ignore. Pier Kids on POV.
Tonight starring Hank Lachlan.
Hank was a part of that team that refined the old style and made it more beautiful.
He had such a pure voice. It was really like an angel voice, really.
Hank Laughlin's voice for me, was unique. It was very high, very clear, very distinct.
Close the door to temptation. Don't let me walk through.
Welcome back. I'm Brian Kerp. Former Ohio pitcher Joe Rock heard his name called 68th overall in the MLB draft, the highest drafted left-handed pitcher in Bobcat history. A lot of hard work and determination went into Rock's journey to pro ball. Ohio's Craig Moore knew Joe Rock was going to be something special going back to his high school days. Moore started recruiting Rock during his sophomore year at Hopewell High School in western Pennsylvania.
Saw him throw a 25-pitch bullpen, and kid, he's probably at that time he was 6'4", probably 155 pounds, But the arm work, you could see that there was a skill set that could be pretty special some days.
Rock had interest from several Power 5 schools, but he chose to go to Ohio University because of the strong baseball program and the aviation program offered at Ohio.
I wanted to go to Ohio because they have a good aviation school. So, being to get two good things at once was a no-brainer for me.
Rock continued to polish his game in Athens and set himself up for success at the next level. Scouts filled the seats at Bob Wren Stadium, and Rock climbed into the top 100 draft prospect list entering his junior season.
I went in there and they gave me an opportunity to play, and I went in there and worked my butt off and put me in a great position to help the team out, and then it also helped me out in the long run.
Rock's career hit a bump in February, just weeks before the 2021 season. His mother passed away after a battle with cancer. Rock went on to pitch a solid junior season, including a no-hitter in late February. On July 12th, Rock got the phone call he and his mom had been dreaming of for years. Rock is going to the Colorado Rockies.
It was awesome. It was an awesome feeling to know that the hard work that I put in my whole life has, paid off. I know she wanted to be here, but I know she was still here, and, it was like a rewarding moment for everybody.
With the draft over, Moore knows Rock will do whatever it takes to make it to the big leagues.
Joe's going to be a great locker room guy. He's going to be a team guy. But number one, he's going to work his tail off because he knows what he wants, and he's going to be pitching in Denver here in the next 2 to 3 years.
My goal is to get the course filled as quick as possible, and hopefully within the next couple of years I'll be at the All-Star game, being an All-Star pitcher, if not a starter. But that's my goal, is to make it to the big leagues as quick as possible.
Rock will begin his professional journey this summer at rookie camp in Arizona. Another Bobcat has a strong chance at getting drafted tomorrow night. Jason Preston could potentially be Ohio's first player taken in the NBA draft since 2003, when Brandon Hunter was taken in the second round. Some projections have Preston getting drafted in the second round. To see where JP lands, both rounds of the NBA draft will take place tomorrow night at 8 p.m. on ESPN. I'm Brian Kerp, and that's it for sports. Back over to you, Nick.
Thanks, Brian. Kanye West has a new residency, Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta. The singer is occupying the venue as he completes his 10th album named after his late mother, Donda West. He shared images from inside the building on Instagram, including one that appears to show a bed in the locker room. Now over to you, Curtis.
Thanks, Nick. Now taking a look at tonight in southeastern Ohio, 69 degrees in Athens. It's a little bit all over the place, as I mentioned earlier. 74 in Columbus, along with 72 in Ironton, 75 in Ripley. But then we also have some more cooler temperatures, 69 in Cambridge. And taking a look tomorrow in Athens, 86 degrees with some thunderstorms. And with our 7-day forecast, 86 degrees. That's our thunderstorm day on Thursday. But it's going to be sunny and with a mixture of clouds throughout the rest of the week. Back over to you, Nick.
And that does it for our broadcast this evening. Thanks for watching. I'm Nick Veland. And stay tuned for our PBS NewsHour coming up next. And remember, you can find the latest news anytime at woub.org. Have a great night.